Welcome back down to a brand new spoiler review here at Max Talks Movies. We're going to break down, we're at the halfway mark of Miss Marvel. So today we're going to break down episode 3 of the episode, which is called Destined. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do movie reviews, these type of TV show reviews, movie rankings, and a box office breakdown show every single Monday. So if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button. Please like the video as well. Really helps the algorithm so more people will check out this video. And please comment down below. Are you liking this show? Are you not liking this show? What are your bold predictions for the following 3 weeks of the show? Let me know in the comment section down below. So this is the third episode. It was 45 minutes long, and it was the first episode where the critics and the fans are on the same page. They gave the critics the first 2 episodes of the series. We are all caught up now, and everyone's watching at the same time. So for me, I've been, if you're new to the channel, I've already done each in their own reviews, episode 1 and 2 of Miss Marvel. So if you're new to the channel, please go back and watch those, then come back and watch here. This is full spoiler. So if you've not seen episode 3 of the show or any of the episodes, just go out now, watch them, come back here. So I've been pleasantly enjoying this show. This is one more easy to watch. This is probably, I think, the most easy to watch MCU show to date. But it's not just because it's just dumb fun. They actually do a lot of great exploration, especially of cultures and the Muslim culture. And I think the Pakistan culture, all those different types of cultures, and that's on display in this episode. This episode is about Amir is getting married, who is Kamala's brother. And at the beginning of this episode, basically, Kamala was on the run, and we saw at the end of last week, Kamran and we turned out to be mom, Najma, pick her up at the end of last week. So they take Kamala back to their place. They describe who they are, and that Kamala is a jinn, which we see Yusuf, Kamala's dad, explain to Bruno later in the episode what the jinn are. But we also open up this episode with a flashback back to 1942, where we see Kamala's great-grandmother actually taking, so Najma is not Kamala's great-great-grandmother, just a person who wants to go back to her dimension, because then we see Kamala's great-grandmother take the bangle, and luckily Najma was not looking, so Najma didn't know that could unlock any kind of powers. But as we zoom up, they are standing on the logo of the 10 rings. And they said at the beginning of this episode in the flashback that there should be 2 bangles and that there was only one on this dead blue arms corpse. So that could be a Kree person, alien, whatever it is, but possibly the 10 ring itself could be the other bangle. And I feel like that the post-credit scene of Shang-Chi, in which that bangle and Shang-Chi gave off a signal that could be connected to this bangle. So I'll be really interested, not just obviously this tying in, of course, to the Captain Marvel franchise with Kamala being in Captain Marvel 2, but I think this could really start tying into Shang-Chi and seeing if we possibly get Shang-Chi in this show, because remember in that post-credit scene in Shang-Chi, Captain Marvel was in the post-credit scene of that movie. So I feel like they're going to be tying in this with the 10 rings being there. And it seems like the 10 rings, the jinn, are all connected, which should be very interesting to watch. So as I said, Kamala learns of this, and she goes to Bruno and says, we need to just do time travel. As this is all going on, Bruno's trying to figure it out, and he brings up Eric Selvig, who's played by Stellan Skarsgård in the Thor films. We cut back to the DODC. So Agent Cleary was not in this episode. His number 2 person, who I find way less interesting than him, is running the DODC's operation with Kamala. And they go to the mosque, obviously where Kamala's from, and they don't even take their shoes off. Completely disrespectful, especially if they want the people their help. But luckily, Kamala's friend Nakia kind of stops it. And says that you can't be here without a warrant. It was a really, really good scene, and it was completely disrespectful for what the DODC did. Just walking in there, not taking off their shoes, just not being courteous whatsoever. So then everyone's kind of talking about how they went to the mosque searching for a superhero, And Kamala doesn't even realize if she wants to be a superhero and if that's even possible. And she learns in this episode from one of the people that she looks up to, saying like, you can't just be good, you have to do good. And that idea is one of the many lessons I think Kamala needs to learn, is that doing good and being good are two different things. I think that her learning that throughout this series should be a good thing. So then we get to an amazing wedding where they did a beautiful, authentic job showing off of this Pakistan, Hindu, Muslim culture with Amir and Taisha's wedding, where it's a completely different wedding. And for me, who's just never seen anything like this, it just felt so different, but I was enjoying myself watching these different cultures. And I think it's really interesting where we're at with the MCU. A lot of their new phase 4 things have to do with some sort of different type of culture or religion. If you're talking about Shang-Chi, Moon Knight, we're going to be getting Black Panther 2, Thor: Love and Thunder, all these things tackling different cultures and religions. I think it's very fascinating, and I'm actually quite enjoying. I'm learning a lot about different cultures, different religions through the MCU, which is very exciting. So they have this little dance sequence, which was absolutely fantastic. And then Bruno gets friend zoned again. I mean, Bruno has been, you really feel bad for Bruno throughout this entire episode for sure, because he just, this whole series so far, he really cares about Kamala and wants it to be obviously more than friends. He clearly likes her, but Kamala continues to kind of go off with Cameron. And then, Kamala's, I mean, he's doing literally everything for Kamala. She even just went on his time travel, and then he kind of is going to figure it out. He says he got into that college and that he wants to go. And I think he should go, because he's kind of been doing everything that Kamala's been asking of him, and he's just not getting what he wants. Is obviously a more than a friendship relationship. He even like shows up to the wedding and starts to enjoy things. And he's kind of like a part of the family of Kamala's family, but Kamala just hasn't, I guess, seen it coming that he clearly likes her like that. So he's about to get that dance with Kamala, which you see the picture behind me. You're like, oh my God, finally. And of course, this is where Cameron comes in, because he learns that his mom and his other and her lackeys are done kind of waiting around for Kamala to figure this out, and just they need to go back to their dimension. So they become like the villains of the series, kind of like out of nowhere. It did not really work for me, especially this whole sequence where Cameron comes in and then all of the lackeys and the mom storm in. That's where Kamala pulls the fire thing and they all leave, and it becomes a chase scene. This chase scene was so meh. It definitely felt like this just was probably one of the more least cinematic things about this series so far, was this chase scene in the kitchen. It just kind of felt too slow and just very TV for the MCU, which is kind of disappointing. And I also just don't know what the powers are of the Jinn and all these different people. They have these different weapons that they just pull out, but the problem is that you don't feel any tension because you just have no idea. The stakes aren't that high, and you just don't, it's kind of confusing because you have no idea the people that are chasing after Kamala, what their powers are. Can they die? Like, you just have no idea what their power set is. And for someone who's not too familiar with I know a lot of the Kamala Khan comics, but not too much. And some of these characters just have confusing powers that they just don't explain. And this is the biggest part of the episode that I just didn't like. I was just confused on the power set of the people who are chasing Kamala in the episode. But later, after this fight ends, Bruno kind of gets hit. Nakia learns about Kamala's powers. She was not happy about that. Kamala finally told her. Then Kamala goes home. Also, before it's over, Kamala and Najwa were together. The train tracks that we kind of heard in episode 2, we see them now. Kamala sees them here in episode 3. And then when Kamala goes home, again, her parents are like, just tell us, like, we'll support you. And still Kamala, even though it's clearly on the mom's side of the family that this is a trait, still doesn't tell her parents what is going on. That will probably have to change very soon, because she's supposed to be going to Karachi on a train because her grandmother calls her and says that you got to get on the train. Like, what train? And then Kamala remembers that she saw the train, and clearly the grandmother saw the same train. So it looks like that Kamala will be going to Pakistan next week. Should be really interesting from a set point of view and from a story point of view. I did find this episode to be my least favorite of the 3 episodes so far, just because they threw so much at you And while they threw so much at you, it felt like a rushed episode. I still had a great time with the show, and this is definitely one of the more pleasant surprises of phase 4 for me in the MCU, how much I'm enjoying the show and the cast of characters here. But I did find it to be a bit too confusing this episode. The tension wasn't there because I had no idea the power set of the villains in this episode. And I think they do need to take more time exploring the background, not just on Kamala's origin story, but just the power set of the villains and just the world building itself. Does it connect more to Captain Marvel, or it is more mystic like Doctor Strange or Wanda? Would love to find out. How will the 10 rings also factor in? Will we get a Shang-Chi cameo or a Captain Marvel cameo on the show? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please like the video, subscribe. More videos are coming soon, including reviews of The Black Phone, etc. Box Office Breakdown show on Monday, then back next Wednesday. I've been doing a Thursday reviews for Miss Marvel. I don't like to double dose you guys with Miss Marvel and Obi-Wan on the same day, but Obi-Wan is finished. I did that spoiler breakdown of the season finale yesterday. So back on Wednesdays will be my Miss Marvel reviews for the next 3 Wednesdays. So please come back, and I'll see you guys.